Or it'll say, let us continue the transmission with your questions and dialogue if you wish.
Hi, Bashar.
And you, good day.
I didn't think about the question, so so I always have so I had a dog as a pet, and then
Yes.
he died last year,
Oh,
and then
I-
I do miss him a lot, and then I always think about
Well, he's still around, you know.
still around.
Yes, of course. They can come and go. They can come to you. Often they are around. Not always. They're off doing other things sometimes, but they have more access to you in many ways than you appear to have to them.
Oh, wow. Okay,
So
good.
they know you. They are part of your family. You are part of their family. They are always able to be with you.
Okay.
It's just that you need to tune your senses to something different now.
Okay, that's really. I'm really happy to find that, and I just always wonder, like especially pets who have a lot of stronger relationship with human beings.
Yes.
What is their purpose of having a life in Earth, and then if they have like a same kind of thing, like they have their higher self, and then or
They do in many ways. The idea is that they often function as reflections for what's going on in their human family members. They will sometimes take on certain qualities, certain attributes, even sometimes certain symptoms that are reflective, perhaps, of what the humans in the family are going through. So they are willing to do that from their unconditional love. You understand?
yes,
But they will also lead you into allowing your senses to stretch, to remember your connection to nature, to use them as a guide in that way. You follow?
yes,
And again, many other purposes. You have to take it on a case-by-case basis. But they have their lives, and they share their lives just as you do with others.
and they always like reincarnate as animals, and they're like a human and animals are totally
Remember that
different.
everything already exists. So reincarnation is an illusion.
Okay.
You follow me?
Yes.
You can create the experience of reincarnation, but that's not mechanically what's actually happening. Nevertheless, certain expressions of consciousness do usually, not always, do usually choose to stay within the general range of that expression. There are exceptions, and again, it depends upon the purpose. But you must understand consciousness as a very malleable thing. And it can express itself through many different doorways. On the highest level, everyone is the same. Because everyone, everything, everywhere, everywhen is an expression of all that is, including dogs, cats, trees, rocks, and everything. You understand?
Yeah.
So on that level, you're all the same. But as they choose to express themselves, as that idea of consciousness chooses to express itself in a certain way, it will often express itself in many similar ways, just as you, expressing yourself as a human, will often make connections to other human expressions. Again, there can be exceptions depending upon what you're exploring and depending upon what the level is that you're coming from that particular perspective or point of view. Does this make sense? But again, just like we talked about before with the idea of past lives, so on and so forth, it's a dynamically changing, fluctuating, malleable thing. It's not static. And different levels of consciousness are constantly expressing themselves in different ways. Is this making some sense to you?
Yes, I have to digest the idea, but yes. Yeah,
Oh,
I
all
do
right. Well,
understand.
would
Yeah.
you like a mint to go with that? Will that make it
I
easier
can
to
pick that up
digest?
at the back. Yes, I'm good. Yes.
All
I
right.
got it. Yes.
Think about the idea of water. Yes? Seems to be one homogeneous medium, but you can have droplets that separate. Sometimes they can be larger, sometimes they can be smaller, sometimes they can be warmer, sometimes they can be cooler. And those would represent the different expressions of consciousness. And one can transform into something else. One can rejoin, in a sense, the whole, never losing its identity, but can take on the qualities that other droplets may have from time to time expressed. Therefore, it's a very interchangeable, malleable thing. And what you may consider to be one particular consciousness can in many ways express itself on multiple levels simultaneously, depending upon, again, the purpose and point of doing so. So what may have expressed itself as your dog in your physical experience may on another level be the same, shall we say, level of consciousness that also can simultaneously express itself as one of your guides. For example, does that make sense?
Yeah, yes.
And therefore the dog expression can tap into the guide expression can tap into the dog expression, and they can be extensions of the same level of consciousness, but they won't necessarily become interchangeable because every identity is unique. Does this make sense? Yet they can take on whatever qualities are necessary to experience whatever they need to experience to aid and assist whatever they are choosing as a theme of exploration. I know that this can get sounding a little complex, but nevertheless, this is the nature of consciousness. It is very malleable. It's the same kind of expression that allows us to communicate with you from different places in our timeline, because many of you may not realize, but sometimes when we are responding to one particular question, you may be conversing with a 137-year-old version of me. Another question may be being answered by a 154 version of me, and another may be being discussed with a 180-year-old version of me, and on and on and on, depending upon where my consciousness needs to slide in order to access the information that's relevant for the question that you are asking, based on my experience. Do you understand?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So consciousness can slide up and down the timelines. It's very flexible and very malleable, yet at the same time will always be expressed, because everything exists at once, in the form in which you also know it, as the dog.
Thank you.
Does this help?
Yes, it definitely does.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Bashar.
And a you good day.
So my question is about the Ascension, and if you can explain how that works.
Ascension is simply the raising of your frequency, that's all. And experiencing the reality that is commensurate with that. And by acting on your highest excitement to the best of your ability with no insistence on a particular outcome, you will allow yourself to expand and, quote unquote, continue to ascend, unquote. Does that make sense? It's that simple. The idea, of course, is that many people in your mass consensus are now deciding to do that all at once. Therefore, it looks like a mass movement, that there are now discussions of consciousness, explorations of spirit. Now that that is common in your language on your planet for many people, more than it was before, you are experiencing the idea of the momentum of a large segment of the collective consciousness deciding that it's the transformational time to do this. Therefore, that is being called the Ascension. But it's a process. Does this answer your question?
A little bit.
All right. What parts seem to be missing?
I was wondering, like, am I going to be in a different density, or am I going to stay in my house and things will just change around me? Am I in a different reality?
Sometimes you will not necessarily be able to tell that you're in a different density. Sometimes you will. Let me give you an example. We have given this example before. If a person from 300 of your years ago were to suddenly be transported into your present and look at you, you would appear to be glowing to them because your frequency is so much higher than the average frequency 300 years ago. But you don't notice it because you're used to it. You understand?
Yes.
So when you are in the process of transforming into fourth density, as you are right now, you may do it so gradually that you won't necessarily notice certain things changing, but you will notice other things changing that are relevant. But of course, remember, that means you've shifted to another version of Earth that is already representative of the changes you've made within yourself. You never change the world you're on.
Okay.
So, if there is another version of the house that is more representative of the fourth density version of you, that's where you will wind up. If not, you can be in what appears to be the same house, but it won't be the same house. It just may not need to look any different in order to satisfy your fourth density needs. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is this answering the question more specifically?
Yes.
Anything else?
Yes. When I go to fourth density.
You are going. This is a process. You're already raising your vibrations by having these kinds of conversations. It's not just, oh, today I'm third density. Oh, 11:59, boom, I'm now fourth density. It's a process. You've been doing this for years. You've been raising your frequency, exploring consciousness, exploring spirituality. Eventually, you will be purely fourth density. But this is a process.
Okay. My question was, when I get there, will we be able to see people that have passed, that are loved ones?
Yes. We do that all the time. We commune with spirits all the time. It's natural for us. So many of you will have that ability as well. Again, if it's relevant. But that can become something quite common to your society eventually, yes.
And fourth density means we'll all get there during different times, or we're going to all go together?
You will each have your own rate, but there will be an overall bubble rate as well for the collective consciousness that chooses to do that.
Will I have to pay taxes?
No.
That's it. I'll leave on that positive note. Thank you, Bashar.
However,
I wanted to leave it at that.
oh, all right.
No, go ahead. Please.
There are systems that people are contemplating on your planet that would change in your culture certain aspects of finance, as you have alluded to them. We would suggest that you get physically and actively involved in choosing the things that would allow you to make those changes. And not just wish for it,
Okay.
but do it. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you. Remember, you chose to experience yourself as physical beings. If you don't actually take physical actions on the things that excite you, then you are not grounding the energy like a circuit into the physical experience. That shows the commitment to the idea, that you live it, that you do it, that it's in your behavior, not just your speech, not just your thoughts. And?
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
So I'm following my highest excitement.
Why, thank you.
But
I'm following my highest excitement, but now I'm not.
I still am.
Then there's no but.
It's not supporting me.
Then you're not following your highest excitement in the way that works for you. In what way do you believe you need to be supported? You may still have certain definitions of what support means to you that might be out of alignment with the true definition of excitement.
Financial support.
Thank you. Like I said, you may have definitions of support that may be out of alignment with your excitement. You have heard us talk about the definition of abundance? Yes or no?
Yes.
What is our definition of abundance? Do you remember?
The ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it.
Did you hear me say anything in there about money?
No.
I didn't say anything about it. I didn't not say anything about it. The point is, there are different forms of abundance. If you insist on only one form, one expression, like money, and you may then find that by following your excitement, you actually need another expression, but while insisting on just one form, you may be closing the door through which another form of abundance can come because you won't accept it as a form of support. Do you understand?
So I should stay with a job that I don't enjoy.
What I'm saying is, if you have a belief system that says you can't be supported by your excitement in some way, shape, or form, then honor your belief system and stay with something, even if you don't enjoy it, that you believe you need to be supported in the way you believe you need to be supported. However, act on your highest excitement when you do, to give yourself the chance and give your excitement the opportunity to show you, to prove to you it can support you, yet you must relax your definition of support. You must broaden your definition of support if your excitement is going to be capable of bringing you support. You can't give your excitement the job of supporting you and then limit or straitjacket your excitement in only bringing you one form that's acceptable. Do you understand?
Okay.
You may not need as much money as you think to do the things you need to do. So if you can broaden your definition of what support means, then you will find that excitement is capable of bringing you any form of abundance that you need at any given moment, and you won't have to insist that it should look a certain way. Then you'll experience support and abundance in all the ways it can come to you.
Okay.
Even someone coming up and giving you a gift is a type of abundance, is a type of support, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, be open to the possibility or the probability that things can happen that way more often. And you may find that you don't necessarily need as much money as you think to do what you need to do. You follow me?
Okay.
Yes?
I do.
You remember the story we told about the photographer traveling around the world?
I do, yeah.
Why doesn't that apply to you? Did she need money? No.
Well, I've been doing it for years and it hasn't.
You've been doing what, though, for years?
I play poker.
So, is that what excites you?
Yes.
Then if playing poker excites you, do you remember what we said about doing what excites you for its own sake, not what you think it can get you?
Right.
Because if you're really focused on the idea of the money, then the poker is not what excites you. You're just using it as a means to an end. Therefore, you're not actually acting on your excitement because you expect and insist that the poker should bring you something other than the joy of playing poker,
Okay.
which means you're not doing it for its own sake. When you forget about the idea of what you think the poker needs to bring you and you really actually enjoy playing it for no other reason than to play it because it excites you, you may be surprised as to what it can bring you. But it may not always come in the form of money. But if that really excites you, then do it for its own sake, or you're not actually acting on your excitement. You're making your excitement conditional on the fact that it must do something for you that you insist on in a certain form. And therefore you're diminishing its ability to bring you what you actually need.
Right. Okay.
Does that make more sense
It
now?
does. It does.
Does that help?
It does. Thank you.
Aces.
Can I ask one more thing?
Yes, that was a question. Would you like to ask another?
Yes.
All right.
Any messages from my higher self?
What do you think I'm giving you?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day to you. Okay, so a couple of questions pertaining to our simultaneous lives that are happening.
Yes.
As you said, we cross-connect to these lives. And
Yes, and they're not necessarily yours. Do you understand? They are their own people.
Correct. Would it be...
The other simultaneous lives you are connecting to.
Sure. So, as you say, we add to them and they add to us.
Yes.
Are they, if we're focused on them in somehow, some way, are they as well focused on us?
Some are, some aren't. You don't need to be to receive the information that you require.
Okay. For example, I know that I am cross-connecting or connected to a consciousness that humans would call an ET pharaoh.
All right.
And I just want to know, since I'm, so many synchronicities in my life have been happening with this kind of consciousness, I'd like to
Yes.
know if he too acknowledges me in this life, and if there's some kind of information that I could take or need to know, so on and so
Well,
on.
that being, as you call it out, does acknowledge that there are many other beings connecting to it. It doesn't necessarily always need to know exactly your identity, because it recognizes that there may actually be hundreds, if not thousands, of other people cross-connecting to it.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
But it will take from it what it needs.
So from me, what is it taking from it?
The recognition of what you would classically call the future.
Okay.
And that you have the freedom now to live your life in the way that you prefer. Therefore, strengthening the resolve and the confidence of that being in living life the way that being prefers.
Yes.
Because that being now knows that this will become a constant in the future. And therefore, you could say the being is ahead of its time.
Ahead of its time. Almost as if facilitating those, maybe the energy from that time into the present, into my present life.
Yes. You
Okay.
can do that too if you wish, and are to some degree doing that. Because again, it's a reciprocation.
Right. Exactly.
Therefore, the confidence that then is expanding in that being can be reflected and rebounded and expanded back to you in a way that you can use in your life. And you can be your own pharaoh, in a sense.
Right.
Having command over your reality, so to speak.
Exactly, yes. I'd just like to
One
tell...
moment.
Go ahead.
Or you can make an asp out of yourself.
An asp.
This comes from another being that you are connected to,
Okay,
who is a little bit of a joker.
okay. May I have a little bit more information about this being?
The being says, ask nicely.
Ask nicely. May I please have some more information about this being?
The being says, ask more nicely.
Ask more nicely. May I please have some information? Pretty please. You fantastic, fabulous being, you.
The being says, where the hell's the sugar on top?
With the sugar and the cherry on top, please.
Oh, all right. You have a connection to what we would call a trickster energy. Do you understand this concept? A shapeshifter.
Yes.
In the future of your world as you understand time to exist.
Yes.
What we would call a cryptic.
A cryptic.
Yes. You are familiar with the being that we have brought through called Willa?
Yes.
Willa is a cryptic.
Okay.
You are connected to another cryptic.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, thank you. In these cross connections,
Yes.
is there ever a chance when we do cross connect to the same consciousness that is a part of our own oversoul and our higher mind? That is, I describe it like the tentacles of us.
Yes.
Do we ever meet those same tentacles in our present life right here, right now? For example, through friends, family?
Yes, it's what we refer to as a counterpart.
Right.
When they overlap your lifespan.
So what happens when we meet those kind of counterparts? I mean,
Anything,
I know...
everything, and nothing. It depends on the themes you're exploring.
Okay.
Sometimes you may not know them at all, even though you may pass each other on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they will be your best friend, sometimes they will be your lover, sometimes they will be your worst enemy. It depends.
And exactly, and for the exchange of growth and expansion for both parties in which we
Yes.
agreed on. Very nice. One more thing just on the ET Pharaoh. I know that we had a son, hybrid. Just want to know if that consciousness is, if I'm connected to that consciousness here in this present reality, or...
No.
Okay.
This is something quite different.
Okay.
And we will talk about that subject another time.
Okay.
It is not yet time for the revelation of those particular hybrids.
Okay, very good. I had a dream many months ago, almost as if I would describe I was in space and there was no sound. And there was about 5 beings silent in front of me, and they were very glowy, light kind of beings, and their outer aura was purple. I'd just like to know who they were, or I saw them, I felt like I smiled back at them. I didn't want to be afraid, and I
Yes.
wanted them to know that I did receive their energy, and I just wanted to know where they came from, or if I needed any extra...
They're your support group. Let's leave it at that for the moment.
Okay. Am I asking too many questions that I'm not supposed to know right now?
It's not that. It's just that there are certain processes you're going through that would be better served if you actually continued to go through them.
Absolutely.
At the moment, you can be aware of these things, and we can give you what we're allowed to give you, and we're happy to do so. Nevertheless, we are also being asked not to give you too much yet, because they have some things in store that you need to be aware of in your own timing.
Very nice.
But you can focus on the violet vibration and remember how that felt, and thus put yourself in the same state of being and see what happens if you do that in an intentional way.
Okay. Very nice. Is this the same thing? The same thing happened when I would describe as the goddess Bast, who's a cat. She kind of just like jumped into my dream one day in the same kind of energy.
Yes, well, again,
vibe.
because of the cross connections you are making to the idea of ancient Egypt and the priesthood and all of that, and you're dealing with archetypal consciousness level energies, there are many things going on here that tell a tale of another story in another dimension
Yes.
that require much too much time to go into now in detail. But you're beginning to get snatches and tidbits and snippets of these things that will eventually all grow together to form one linear story for you. So you're seeing bits and pieces at the moment.
Very nice. So then the path. So then I'm flowing with my path, if you will, and meeting these extra stories and counterparts.
Yes.
That are adding to the experience, the
Yes.
expansion. One more question. I am an acting coach and I teach actors.
All right.
And I like to infuse a lot of my acting with actual, some of the metaphysical properties,
Yes.
principles that we
Yes,
teach.
yes.
And in my mind, I like to kind of tailor the child to know about their human avatar mechanism and really know about their senses and observation and awareness, because
Yes, all right.
I'm feeling that is part of, is that a good way to help in their development?
Is it your way? Does it
Yes.
excite you?
Yes.
Then it's a good way.
Do you have any more?
Because it works for you.
Good.
You do understand that at its height, when an individual can truly allow themselves to transform into another personality, yes?
Yes.
What you call acting,
Or shape-shifting, as you said earlier.
in a sense, is a form that we might refer to as multiple personality order.
Yes. Yes.
Because there is connective tissue between them in a way that can allow for smooth communication rather than the disorder. Do you understand? So it's a form of channeling, of course. And every one of you contain multitudes of personalities and are connected to multitudes of personalities, and you can shapeshift into them. And that's what acting is. Yes?
Yes.
You become that person, literally, but retain a connection to the idea of an overall identity
Yes.
that contains all of those personality expressions. This is multiple personality order.
Yes.
And so,
I just wanted to maybe if there was like a clarification or an add-in to.
I just gave you one. Multiple personality order. Maybe you don't understand what we're saying by that.
Could you please clarify or go a little bit deeper into it?
But what do you think it means?
Multiple personality order, that we have the ability to use these multiple personalities to get through whichever energy we need to inhibit for whatever expansion or situation, circumstance pertaining to that moment in our reality for the sake of our growth.
Well, you talk about the idea of acting, but you know that the best acting comes from when the situation and circumstance that's been created is treated as if it's real.
Yes.
Then it is real.
Yes.
You are actually seeing a glimpse of parallel realities, parallel versions of those persons.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes, I do.
So you can use the idea that you are tapping into a multitude of parallel realities to describe the concept of acting.
Yes.
So that's another way to view it, if that is something that is of interest to you. Doesn't have to be, but we have given you the suggestion that you have asked for. And you may not completely wrap your mind around it yet, but let it sink in and see what it does for you in your dreams. You may come up with something that works and is connected to the concept of understanding how to present the concept of parallel reality versions of people that then can allow them to tap into them in a way where when they bring them through, they will understand that without losing the sense of their own identity, they really will be that identity. And that you're actually seeing multiple worlds on the stage simultaneously.
Yes. And so by bringing out these multidimensional personalities within ourselves, this, of course, adds to our I guess I'll use the word upgraded, evolved next stage.
Yes, but let me express this more precisely and take it a step further for you, because you're still assuming that what we're talking about are multiple personalities within you.
Okay.
We're saying that when someone really becomes that person, you are actually being given an opportunity to literally see a parallel reality made flesh.
Okay. Yes.
Do you follow me?
Yes, I do.
The stage suddenly becomes a portal upon which multiple parallel realities can actually be presented to your reality.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
Literally. The people on the stage are not the same people who are then walking off the stage to go home. You are literally looking at a parallel reality. Literally.
Yes.
Do you understand?
I do understand.
That is the power of acting.
Yes.
Does this help?
Yes, it does.
Feels exciting, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bashar.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
This is why your stories are so powerful. You are really tapping into alternate realities and exploring